Hi, sixth grade. Good to see you. You're all looking happy and healthy today. I see Dante's here, or Cedric's here. Who are we missing? We're missing Dante. I have Cassie. Hi, Cassie. You're in. Hi, Cassie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're only missing Dante.
Sorry, I was muted. My internet wasn't really working very
Yeah.
well, so that's why I couldn't get in.
We had a little trouble with last class with somebody having trouble with their internet. So just try to stick with us as best you can.
You like my
Go ahead.
Do you like my shirt?
Wicked. Oh, did you get to see that?
Yeah, right before this all happened.
Really?
Like right before all this happened.
Really?
Like just a week before, and it was.
Oh my gosh! So, would you recommend it?
Yeah, it was really good, actually.
Was it? I'd love to go see that. All right.
It was so good that I have a pop socket of it, and I also have the whole soundtrack on my phone.
Neat. All right. So at this point, everybody should have their study guide. You unmute your mic if you found your study guide. Matthew Bellino, I don't see any answers on your study guide. Do you see your answers? Unmute your mic, Matthew.
On History of Canada, Part 2.
Yeah.
Pages 173 to 175.
Yeah. I don't see your answer. That was assigned yesterday.
No, I don't see them either.
So did you do it? Do you remember if you did it or not?
I think I forgot today.
That was your homework assignment.
Fee.
Cedric, unmute your mic.
I don't think you gave the homework assignment before we left for before we did the extra pages thing.
The mic is on.
When we left.
That's not it. You guys left early, or you guys left.
It was in parents where.
I put everything on my agenda.
Everyone left except me and Nathan, and then we read over that last paragraph, and then she gave us our homework.
Yeah.
I put everything on my agenda.
If you leave early, you gotta let me know before you leave early. You can't just leave. Nick Marks, you don't have it done either.
I know. I didn't. No one knew. You said that we could leave.
Well, if you have to, for some reason, you have to leave early, you need to tell me, and I'll tell you what homework is. Okay. And it's always on Parent Square. So I'm not going to go over the study guide. I'm going to have you do this tomorrow.
What if you said that we could either read over it or go and read it on our own?
Excuse me? What?
Yesterday you said we can yesterday you said we can read it on our own, or that we can stay and read it all together.
All right, but you'll have to make sure you get the homework assignment before you leave when you do that.
Ms. Butzel.
Yes.
What you said that we're doing the second part of the study guide for tomorrow? Or due tomorrow?
No. If you have all the answers done, you're ready. That's all there is.
Oh, okay. So if we're already done, we don't need to do anything?
Not if you have the study guide done. We're going to read some in our book today, and I do not have another study guide for you, so we're just going to do some reading today. So you may have some time to work on that. Since Friday is going to be a day that we're not meeting, you can work on that study guide, and Monday we'll go over it. I will grade it over the weekend. Some of you have some Russia study guides that weren't handed in and you have no credit for it. It has really pulled your grade down because we did a little bit every day. So that's a couple of homework assignments. Those of you who do not have it done, come see me tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I have Nick, Dante, and Cedric scheduled for 11 o'clock to work on some things. And make sure you go back. And if you, like, I know Cassie didn't do that. That would be something you can work on tomorrow, Cassie, and I will give you credit for it. I'll give you a back credit for it because I know it's been difficult getting used to doing homework this way. Okay, so you need to write in your homework tablet right now. History of Canada Study Guide Part 2, page 173, 175 is due on Monday. So if you don't have it done, do it. It's worth 10 points, and I will grade it over the weekend. As soon as you turn it in, I'll grade it for you. Any Russia back homework that you didn't get done, then Friday, getting caught up on that. And it's the Russia homework that I give you credit for was your study guide. So you need to do you'll need to either do it in Google Docs and send it to me, or take a picture of it with your mom's or dad's phone and email it to me. Either one of those two ways. The other thing is page 174 and 175 you were supposed to do. Some of you don't have credit for that. So get caught up on that, and I can work on your grade then tomorrow. Okay? Hi, Nathan. All right. So since I have so many people that did not do the study guide in, are you checking Parent Square? Is everybody checking Parent Square?
I'm not able to access Parent Square. I
Yes.
write all the homework
You're
we get on our agenda, on my agenda.
Okay. All right. So did you write down what I just said now, Nick?
About the what's it called? Study guide?
Yes.
No, I didn't yet because I don't. I have it on here, so I know it on right away. Not my agenda.
Okay.
But never mind. It's hard to explain.
Okay. Let's go to we're going to finish reading about the history of Canada, and we need to go to page 176. Oh, sorry. I keep doing that. Wait. Oh, yeah, it is 176. Okay, 176, it says Canada grows. Okay, 176. Oh, did I forget to put my captions on? There you go. I have captions on now. Okay, go ahead, Serena. You want to read? Go ahead.
Canada grows. Over the next 100 years, Canada experimented with different forms of government, working out its relationship with Britain. The country expanded and prospered with the help of immigrants. Can I continue reading?
Yes, go ahead.
The Dominion of Canada. In the 1800s, Britain feared American westward expansion. To strengthen its position, Britain passed the 1867 British North America Act, creating a new confederation called the Dominion of Rights. The Dominion is a territory that governs itself but is still tied to its colonizing country. The Dominion of Canada includes all the provinces of British Canada except Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland. Britain would still control Canada's foreign affairs, but the country would govern itself. Like the United States, the Dominion of Canada divided its powers between national and provincial or state governments. In the late 1800s, Canada had expanded its territory.
Oh,
By
hang on a minute before you go on there. Okay, so before we get into how they're expanding, what we know about Canada in the past, they were ruled by Britain, but they were allowed to kind of govern themselves and make up their own laws. They did many things to kind of incorporate the French ancestry with the British ancestry, as we talked about yesterday. So a territory is one thing. Territory is usually ruled by the government that that has taken it over, but in the Dominion they allow more self-governing. So that's what it was like. So the Canadian government was kind of broken up, very similar to the United States government. You had your national government, your provincial government, and you also then had your state government. We have that same thing now. And if you're watching in the news, the president, the federal government, which would be the national government in Canada, is saying, here's what I want you to do because of the coronavirus. But each state is allowed to make their decisions when they can do certain things, when they can open up businesses, when they can't open up businesses, depending on what's going on in the state. So Canada is the same way. It has those levels of government that has some control: national, provincial, state. So there's a lot of similarities to the government in Canada and the United States government. Serena, do you want to finish up that section, or do you want someone else to read? Do you have your captions on, Serena? You're muted.
someone else.
Okay. Nathan, you want to go ahead and read?
He left the
He
meeting.
just-
Okay.
Oh, I saw him come up. I thought he went. Nicholas, would you like to read, please?
Nathan Miller's back.
I see. Nicholas, would you like to read, please?
Which Nicholas?
The Nicholas that's Nicholas, not the Nicholas that's Nick.
Okay.
In the late
Um,
1800s is where we left off.
In the late
Last
in the
paragraph.
in the late 1800s, Canada has expanded its territory by 1905, the nation had 5 new provinces stretching to the Pacific coast. First Nations people who lived in the West resisted this expansion. The Canadian government feared wars with Native people similar to those in the United States. It worked to solve conflict through treaties, which resulted in many Native groups being forced to move through reservations.
Okay. All right. So what we see here and what they're kind of explaining here is they began to expand and create new provinces. But the Native Americans, the Native people, the First Nation, was against this expansion. They were, like the United States, they were moved into reservations. They were given treaties. I believe that they solved a lot of their conflicts through treaties, but the Native people were kind of pushed back off of the land that they had, similar to the United States. I think they had less conflict than we had in the United States, but they still were against what was going on. The role of immigration. Cassie, could you read about the role of immigration?
Sure. In the early 1900s, Canada's economy grew by leaping and bounds. New technologies and better agriculture methods increased the exports of Canada's main crop, wheat. The growing economy was also fueled by growth in population, especially from immigrants, who created a strong labor force. In the early 1900s, the Canadian government encouraged immigration to Canada, especially of farmers. From 1901 to 1911, Canada's population grew by about 34% of the population. By 1911, they made up to 22% of the population. Most of these immigrants were British, America, or Jews from Russia. Immigrants continued steadily throughout the 1900s, adding to Canada's diversity.
Okay. So basically, to sum that up, what they're saying is they had a lot of immigration. The population grew, immigration, and the economy grew because of it. Independent Canada. Could I have?
We have 1 minute left.
Can we read the next page? I'd like to get this page in.
Yeah.
Nathan, would you like to read this page?
Sure. Independent Canada. In the years after the Dominion of Canada was created, the British had less and less to do with governing the country. And Canada began establishing itself as a world leader. World War I. Canada was still part of the British Empire when World War I began. When Great Britain entered the war in 1914, this meant Canada joined the fight as well. The war demanded many human and natural resources from Canada. The country began to collect an income tax to pay for the services, which made the country less dependent on Britain. In 1918, Canada created an air force separate from Britain's. By the end of the war, Canada proved that it was ready to act as an independent nation. In 1931...
Wait, stop there just a minute, Nathan. Okay, so sum that up. In World War I, they started collecting income tax for war costs. And then they found out by collecting this income tax, they could become more and more independent, getting away from British rule. Because they were depending on Britain to fund them, to keep their economy going. But they found they could do it on their own and stand on their own. So World War I was a good thing. And, well, that was, I should rephrase that. It was not a good thing. But it was one good aspect that came of it is Canada said, hey, we can do this ourselves. We don't need Britain anymore. Okay, Nicholas, go ahead and continue reading. I'm sorry, Nathan, go ahead and continue reading.
In 1931, Britain recognized Canada's ability to act independently of the British Empire. Canada, however, remained linked to Great Britain. Canada's courts were still tied to Britain, and the country's constitution was officially an act of parliament. Canada's challenges. Canada faced its first major challenge as an independent country with the Great Depression of the 1930s. As in the United States and across the world, prices for exports fell. There were widespread crop failures and unemployment rose. New political parties formed to demand that the government do more to help people. In the United States, joining World War II helped lift Canada out of the Depression. Canada's economy grew rapidly to support the war. Industries and agriculture expanded, new jobs were created, and businesses developed new technologies. The economy, once dependent on agriculture, became much more diversified. This began a period of growth that carried Canada into the next century.
Okay, so basically, what I want you to remember there is also World War II again helped the economy in Canada, and they became more and more independent. So I don't have a study guide for this section. I don't think there's enough in here that I want you to have to study. but I want you to know kind of how the government sort of was created. So just remember those basic things that we reviewed today, that about Canada and how its government came about. So there is no study guide going to be on this, but for tomorrow, make sure you get caught up on some of the things that you need to finish. Study guide that we were supposed to check today, we will check on Monday to make sure everybody has that for Monday, please. And have a good day off and a good weekend. And I will see you on, I will be in office at our normal time at 11 o'clock. I have some people I assigned to meet me. If you have any questions, come in at 11 o'clock or email me and I will set up a time for you. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions, anybody? Okay. Bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye, Serena.